All right, so basically our trig ratios, sine, again, identify your angle first. It's your opposite over hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. Again, identify your angle first. Tangent, opposite over adjacent. Again, the most important things, I wish I could make this a little bigger. Let me see if I can make that bigger for everybody. Oh, yeah. That might be too big. Let me do it. Make that slightly smaller. Here we go. These three things. So you might want to get either a highlighter, color pencil, or something. On the bottom of this slide, you might want to star it, do something. When we're dealing with these, that's all we're going to be doing the next couple classes. Identify your angle first. Locate with three sides. Locate or identify the three sides with respect to the identified angle. And then substitute. Now, again, you're going to figure out, you're going to be asked, okay, am I looking for a sine, cosine, or a tangent? And then you'd stand up one of these three. And then from there, you're going to use the proportion method, because depending on what you're trying to find, in order to determine your either missing angle, or if you have the angle measure, the missing side. All right. Questions before we continue? So give you all a moment to think about this. And then we'll begin. And today might go a little slower, but that's because your class is going to have more time on this first half of the lesson. The other class is much shorter. They don't have as much time, so this is a good opportunity for everybody to really think about what's going on, what type of information. All right. Go. Are we ready? Okay, I'm going to cheat a little. Okay, what we need to do is we need to determine the sine, the cosine, and the tangent of angle S. Now, the very first thing, what do we have to identify first? We have to identify which angle. Angle S. So step one, where is angle S in this diagram? Where is it? Here, here, or there? Where is angle S? Is this angle S? Okay, do I go up or right to get the angle S? To the right. There's angle S. So that's the first thing you need to do. Identify your angle. So step one, identify angle S. Boom, you did that. Now, we need to identify our sides with respect to angle S. So if this is angle S, let me look across. This is going to be your opposite side over here. You see why the 5 is the opposite? Because here's angle S. You got to look across to get to the opposite. Then our adjacent Well, which side is the adjacent? Remember, it can't be the hypotenuse. Because the hypotenuse is always across from what angle? Across from the box. So here's your hypotenuse. And that's a permanent rule. The hypotenuse is always going to be across from the right angle or the box. So therefore, the adjacent side has to be which one? The 5 or the 12? The 12. So adjacent is 12, opposite 5. That means our hypotenuse has to be 13. Okay. So we identified our angle. Did we identify our three sides with respect to the angle? So that's step 2 right here. Boom. Now, step 3. All we're doing is now we're going to follow our rules. So the first part's opposite over hypotenuse. So what's our opposite side? 5. And then what's our hypotenuse? That's all we do for the first one. Opposite 5, hypotenuse 13. That's it. Okay. Now for the next one, the cosine. I have adjacent over hypotenuse. So what's our adjacent value? And what's our hypotenuse? 13. Okay, there we go. 12 over 13. And then last but not least, opposite over adjacent. What's our opposite in this case? And then that's going to be over. What's our adjacent? 12. That's it. So that's part 3. Now sometimes all you may have to do, if I tell you to use a fraction, leave it as a fraction. So unless if I tell you otherwise, all you do is replace. If you're asked to solve, then solve. If you're not asked to solve, leave it alone. I mean, I'll tell you when you're going to be asked to solve. But that's all you're doing. Identify that angle. Identify your sides. And then substitute. Questions? All right. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes to try this next one. So, identify your angle. Well, which one's our angle? Angle, which one? So there's your angle R. And then right away, what's the first thing we can identify right away? Which is yep, there's your hypotenuse right there. Boom. So then with respect to angle R, which side is the opposite? The 12 or the 16? 12's the opposite. Good. So then the adjacent has to be 16. Okay. All right. Now, I gave you the 3. I need for you all, I want you all to just plug them in, and you may have to simplify your fraction, but I'll let you try that for a minute as I update attendance. Okay. All right. So let's look at these. Opposite over hypotenuse. What did we get when we did the opposite over hypotenuse? Opposite was what number? So it's 12 over 20. Now, okay. Could we simplify 12 over 20? You can. So 12 over 20 becomes, well, what would be the fraction equivalent? What can we divide both 12 and 20 by? What number? There's a couple options. So 12 and 20 are both even numbers. So if any number is even, we can always divide an even number by 2. All right. So if we did that, 12 divided by 2, 20 divided by 2. We get, well, what's 12 divided by 2? Over. It's 20 divided by 2. Now, can we even simplify this further? Yeah. Because we can divide 6 and 10 both by. So again. And we would get a final result of 6 divided by 2. 3 over 5, right. So 12 over 20 simplifies all the way down to 3 over 5. Now, some of you probably say, well, when I did 12 over 20, I got 0.6. 0.6 and 3 over 5 are the same value. I mean, I prefer the fraction. Now, if you gave me the decimal, I would not penalize you, per se. I'm not going to penalize. Because it's not like you're not pulling rabbits out of hats. You're giving me a legit number. So I'm not going to penalize you there. All right, let's look at cosine of R. Okay, what two numbers am I going to use to get the cosine of R? 16 over 20. Now, can we simplify 16 over 20? Okay, what could we get? Couple options. Well, what can we divide both 16 and 20 by?
2.
You can do 2 again. So 16 divided by 2, we get 8 over 10, right? Now, can we simplify 8 over 10 even further? Yeah. Well, obviously, 10 divided by what gives us 5? Just did it up here. 10 divided by, not 5. 10 divided by what gives us 5? 10 divided by 2. And then what's 8 divided by 2?
4.
So 4 over 5 is the same as 16 over 20. Now, some of us might have said 0.8. I would accept 0.8 as well. That's fine. Because there's going to be problems down the road where we're going to get decimals. There's going to be no choice. We can't fight it. Now, what about this last one? Opposite over adjacent. What two numbers am I going to set up for my fraction?
12 and 16.
12 over 16. Now, 12 over 16 can be simplified. Okay, I got an idea. Take your calculator, type in 12 over 16. What do you get when you get 12 over 16? What, you're going to get a decimal. 0.75, all right? That's fine. All right, think about money. 75 cents. What's the quickest way to get 75 cents? 3/4. So is 3 over 4 the same as 3/4? There you go. 0.75 is 3/4. There is a way you can go from decimal to fraction if you can on the calculator. You don't have to know it. Again, if you gave me decimal values, like, because these are going to be rather clean. 3/5 is 0.6. 4/5 is 0.8. 3/4, 12 over 16, 0.75. It's not like them crazy numbers that never end. All right. Questions before we continue? So let everybody ingest this. Think about this. Because the next thing we're going to do is something involving, now we're going to get a little more into calculator stuff. Right now, this is where you get the angle and you have all three sides. However, the next few problems that we're going to start dealing with, you're only going to get maybe one side, the angle measure, and a missing side. But it's not as bad as it looks. It's easier than you all think. So when we're ready, that means phones are away. We don't need that phone right now. Otherwise, I'm going to put the class warning out. And then you're wondering about, okay, why are my grades the way they are? Playing with them phones. So these next problems are going to be very important. All right, here's what I want you to do. Anytime we get a problem like this, I'll tell you right away. It's like you get sine of some degree number, cosine of some degree number, tangent of some degree number. Put a fraction bar. So this is the first thing I want everybody to do. Put a fraction bar. And then you're also going to put a 1 right underneath. So I want everybody to do this before we do anything else. I want you on your paper. Fraction bar, 1. Fraction bar, 1. You can do that for all three of them before we do anything else. Make sure we can have this. So fraction bar, 1. Yep. You got it. Now, here's what's going to happen next. You will need your calculator for this. Because in the end, like your sine of 23, cosine 74, tangent of 60, they're all numbers in the end. Here's how we're going to get these numbers. So open up your calculator.
Pardon the interruption. We are just testing to make sure we have bells. We should have some dismissal bells at the next break. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So what you're going to do on your calculator. So for the first one, the sine of 23. On your calculator, see where the number 0 is on the bottom? You're going to count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keys up. You'll see the word SIN for sine. Touch that button first. You haven't done so, touch it first. The next thing you're going to do, type in your degree value, 23. Then, above the number 9, there's a closed parentheses. Touch the closed parentheses. It should be sine 23, close parentheses. Now you touch enter. What do you get? 3907. All right, that's good. So you can go up to 4 decimal places. So the sine of 23 is about 0.3907. So we'll just go up to there. You know what? I'm going to type it in. I think I'll make it a little easier. It's 3.097 over 1 equals x over 15. Now, are we at a point do we have enough information to solve for this x? We do. We solve for that x. So then what's going to happen? Highlighter. Do your cross multiplication. So of course, when we do x times 1, what's x times 1 or 1 times x? What's 1 times x? X. But what about 15 times 0.3907? All right, that's all you do. You're just going to multiply 15 times 0.3907. So let's do it. And then I think, no, you said it already. So what was 15 times 5.8609? All right. And just whatever you miss. So then your x, I'll type it in. So then x equals 5.8609, but it's actually going to be, if you said 5.86 or 5.861, that's okay. That's acceptable. And then do you have to do anything else with this problem? Anything else need to be done for this first one? No, right? That's all you do for this one. Let me make that a little bigger. There you go. There we go. Boom. That's the first one. All you did, again, multiply 15 times 0.3907. Boom, there it is. Question so far? I mean, if you want to put that number down here in the box, you can. You don't have to. What about the second one? The second one. Anybody figure out what the cosine of 74 is?
Yeah.
What was it?
0.9612.
I need to see your calculator.
It's 0.2756.
It should be 0.2756. Okay, you're in degree. Yeah. I wonder how you got that other value.
Okay.
So 0.2756. So that is what we have. Of course, put it over 1 equals W over 5. Okay, but then what happens? We do our cross multiplication. Boom. I'm going to type it up here. Well, what are we going to multiply? 1 times W, right? And then, of course, hold on, let me, before I confuse everybody. Okay, then what 2 numbers are we going to multiply over here? What? Say again? 0.2756 and the 5, all right. it's going to be 0.2756 times the 5. You don't need the parentheses, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. What I am going to do real quick, let me just put a delineation line just so we don't get confused about the problems that we're doing here. Okay. So I just want everybody to see separation between first problem and second problem. Now, of course, what's 1 times W? Just W, okay? And then we just multiply 0.2756 times 5. What do we get? 1.3781, yep. And then if you want 1.3782, I'd be okay with it. Or if you just want 1.378, I'm fine. But yep. So you will get an answer. That would be the value of W. So far, not too bad, right? Any questions on these first couple problems here? Now, the last one. Here's what's going to happen. This one's going to be a little funny because after I did this problem, I realized, oh, this is probably not the best tangent value to use. You'll see why in a second. All right, so for this one, obviously, well, what was the tangent of 60? Tangent 60? Check that again.
I got 1.732.
Tangent of 60. I see it. Maybe we did. Oh, I see what happened, Joey. You didn't do anything wrong. Because what happened was your calculator was accidentally not put into degree mode, so it's not your fault. I just want to show you something real quick. So when we hit the mode button, we're going to go down a couple. We're radian. Hit degree. It's not your, because not everybody did this, so don't worry. Now, try it again. You should be okay now. And again, check to make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Sorry, this is actually your calculator.
What do you mean degree mode?
Well, what happened was, it should be in, if you touch the mode button, and you're okay. If you touch the mode button right there, see where it says mode? So touch that real quick. If the word degree is highlighted, then you're okay. So you're okay. So yeah, the tangent of 60 is at 1.732. Hold on, I'll fix that in like 2 seconds. So this is our proportion. 1 over 1 point, the 1.732 over the 1 equals to 3 over y. Now, just like before, we're going to do our diagonals. So obviously what's 3 times 1? 3 times 1 is 3. Now, for now, can we do anything with that 1.732 times OY? It's just going to be 1.732 equals times Y, right? Can't do anything yet, yeah? However, to get Y by itself, you see that we're multiplying, right? Y times that 1.732. But what would be the opposite of multiplying by Y? Okay, but what are we going to divide by? Are we going to divide by Y or the 1.732? You got to divide by the 1.732. Now, here's where it's going to be real careful. When we divide these two values, 3 divided by 1.732, you divide it, what do you get? Don't be surprised.
1.7321.
Yeah, you're going to get about the same number. And it turned out in the end, this was actually the square root of tangent of 60 approximates to the square root of 3. So that's why when I did this problem, I realized, oh, maybe I should not have done this. So yeah, your final answer for Y down here. Y would be that 1.732. And actually, to make our lives a little easier, we could have switched the Y and the tangent of 60. And we would have gotten the exact same answer. All right, questions, anybody up to this point? And then we'll all right. Oh, no. All right, now we're going to see this in action. We're going to see these problems in action with actual triangles. Any questions before we move on? Again, I want to go back real quick, especially for anybody who was late. We're going to follow these rules. Identify the angle first. Locate the 3 sides with respect to the identified angle. Locate, which means identify, like your opposite. I'm going to type that in to make it easier. Locate, or I should say identify, like your opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. That's what we need to do. And then substitute, solve. Again, anytime you have these types of problems, sine of whatever, cosine whatever, tangent of whatever, you always put it over 1, boom. There's your proportion, solve as necessary. Any questions before we continue? Once you finish that, Alexandra, we can go on. Okay, here we go. And I kind of gave you an idea on how to do these types of problems here. So here's what's going to happen. What we're going to do, here's our 52-degree angle. There's the 52-degree, right? Now, what we need to figure out is what is given to us. Like, what sides of the triangle have something? Now, obviously, the 15 represents the, that's a hypotenuse. So we have a hypotenuse. So right away, which ratio will we not use? Yeah, we're not going to use the tangent. That's out of the game. Because since we have a hypotenuse, don't use tangent. Now it's down to a sine or cosine. Let's look at the x. The x with relationship to the 52 degrees. Is that an adjacent or an opposite side? This is going to be the most important part of the whole problem. Say again? It's an opposite. That's right, Joey. Because the adjacent side is going to touch the 52-degree angle. Now, we don't have anything at all for the adjacent. So the adjacent, just kick it out. So out of these two that remain, which is our best option, sine or cosine? The sine, because cosine we can't use because we don't have anything for the adjacent. Boom, that's out of the game. So we're just left with degree measure. We've got to use the sine. So here's how we're going to set everything up. So when we set up our problem, we use the sine, but what's our angle measure? What's our angle measure here, ladies and gentlemen? 52. Now, we had the opposite. What was the opposite? That's the x. Now, of course, with the sine, the cosine, and all that, what are we always going to put underneath when we set up our fraction? No, before that. Go back to the previous slide. What do we always put? Put a 1. So you're going to put... Oh, that's bad. Okay. No. Time out. Okay, I'm going to have to... Oh, I'm not happy. Oh, great. Don't tell me I lost my slide. That's not good. All right, this is not good. I lost my slide. Oh, this is bad. How did I lose my slide? All right, here's what we're going to do. All right, here's what we're going to do. Here we go. All right. Memory serves me right. Boom. It provides the 15 x. Oh no. 15. I don't know why we just lost that slide. X 52 degrees. So we said we were going to use the sine, right? We agree it was the sine of 52 degrees. There's our hypotenuse, opposite. So sine of 52 is going to go over, I don't know how I lost my slide just now, but was it 15 over x or x over 15? Who remembers? Remember the sine is what over what? What's on the top? Is it the opposite or the hypotenuse? Yep, it's going to be the x because it's the opposite. Okay, so this is number 4. I don't know how I lost that slide just now. All right. And then the hypotenuse was what number? What was our hypotenuse, ladies and gentlemen? It's right here. Okay. Now sine of 52 turned out to be a number. What was that number? You could tell us what the sine of 52 is. Remember, use our calculators.
0.7880.
So 0.7880. We agree? Over 1 x over 15. Now, are we at a point where we can solve for the x? Can we solve for x at this juncture? Yeah. Boom. Diagonal. So do your diagonals. So in the end, what are we really multiplying in the end? 15 times 0.0 or 7.880. Got to get those. Yeah, because 1 times x is just 1 time. It's just x. Do we even need that 1? That goes away. And then if we multiply those two numbers, x is, you could tell us what 15 times 0.7880 give us. 11.82. Agree or disagree? Is Eric right? Okay. And this was what side? The 1182, was that our opposite or adjacent? That was our what side? Opposite. Good. So 11.82 was the opposite. Sorry, we had a hand draw that triangle. Making sure we got it. Anybody have any questions? Any questions on that first one? Again, gotta nail that ratio. Gotta keep that setup right. If you get the setup wrong, that's it. Game over. So far, anybody have any questions?
All right.
Okay, so we're good with number 4. Basically, we're going to be doing that for 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll probably do this for a few more times. Probably not going to get through all of them, but that's okay. I know we're not. And I think there's going to be a couple application problems. If we don't get, and I said again, if we're not going to get through the whole packet, bring it back next time. We'll definitely get through it by the next time. All right, here's our second one. Okay, 54 degrees. That's our angle in question. So out of the 3, which one was not given to us? Hypotenuse was not given to us. So we only have an opposite and adjacent. So out of the 3, sine, cosine, tangent, which is the one we use? Tangent. Because the other 2, the hypotenuse, boom, that's not there. That's not there. So we can't use these guys at all. So right away, you need to figure out right away is which one's not given to us at all. If we don't have the hypotenuse, guess what? We can't use sine or cosine. We're automatically using the tangent. Now, let's look. The x and the 5. Is the x the adjacent or the opposite side? Look at where 54 is. Where's the x? Is x opposite or adjacent? One or the other. Who'd like to take a guess? Which one? The 5 is the adjacent side, yeah, because it's touching the 54-degree angle. So the adjacent is the 5. So that means the x is the opposite. So basically we have the tangent of 54 equals x over 5. Oops. Now, as always, what do we put under the tangent of 54 to make it look like a ratio? 1. There you go. So your tangent of 54 over 1 equals x over 5. Now, is the tangent of 54 a number? Tangent of 54, what do we get?
1.376.
1.376? Okay. And then of course we have the x. Don't worry, I'll fill in the fraction bars in a minute. So there we go. All right, now before, what do we have to do? We have to do what, ladies and gentlemen? So after we write tangent of 54 as 1.376, what does this look like? Yeah, you got to cross multiply. And of course, what's 1 times x? 1 times x is just x. And then we're going to multiply the 1.376 times the 5. So then the x, oh, I did not want to do that. All right, let me rewrite that x somewhere else. So in the end, 1 times x we said was just x. But if we multiply 5 times 1.376, what would we get?
6.88.
6.88? We'll check to make sure. Eric says 6.88. Is he right? Did we check our calculators? Okay. And yep, he's right. And is that which one? Which side is that? Is that the opposite side or a hypotenuse? The x represents the opposite. Good. All right. So far, any questions? Okay. All right. Alexandra. Have that phone. Okay. Questions before we go to the next one? We'll try a couple more. All right, this one. Look at what's given to us. Here's our 37 degree. So we have to figure out which side was not given to us. Opposite was not given to us. So if the opposite wasn't given to us, then out of the three, which is the ratio we can use? Yeah, cosine. Because we don't have an opposite, boom, that's gone. No opposite, boom, gone. So we're just left with a cosine. So so the cosine, 37, that's going to be our. Now, what is the adjacent? Which one? Is it the x or the 14? That's our adjacent side. Look at our triangle. Which one is the adjacent, the x or the 14? X. One. And then the hypotenuse is which side? 14. Very good, Noe. Okay. X over 14, 37 is the cosine, 37 over 1. All right, now, like before, what do we need to do? What do we have to do? Well, before we do that, what do we have to do with the cosine of 37? What does that become? 0.3986? All right, so cosine of 37 was what number? What do we get for the cosine of 37? 0.7986. Okay. Actually, I'll do that. Now, what's next? What do we always need to do? We always have to what? In a proportion, we always need to do what, ladies and gentlemen? Cross multiply. Now, of course, as always, what's 1 times x? 1 times x is x. And then we're going to multiply 0.7986 times 14. So now we're just down to multiplying the 14 times the 0.7986. What do we get?
11.1804.
11.1804?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. If you had just said 11.18, I'd be okay with that too, but I'm all right with this. This is actually a little more exact, so good job. Agree, disagree with this, ladies and gentlemen? Again, you need to be doing our... You're going to be given calculators. They're right here. You will always be allowed to use a calculator on your test. All right, anybody have any questions on this one? Okay, Cindy. No phone, no phone. All right. No. All right, I'll let everybody copy this one down. And again, don't forget, label your triangle. Adjacent. Our partners. Need be. Opposite as well. Always label. Remember your HOA. Partners. Adjacent. Opposite. But it has to be with respect to the angle. That's why I tell everybody, cross out what's not given to you. Because that automatically tells you what's left. Then from there, that tells you how to fill in everything. Again, the setup is the key. Given this, setup. All right, questions on this one? Stay awake. All right. We'll just start this setup. But we're going to do this a little different. These next three are going to be a little different because everything's now being identified, right? Notice, unlike before, everything's now identified. But again, the key is going to be, if we want to figure out which ratios we need to use, we're going to single right here. Now, we're just going to talk about the setup, but we're not going to go much more than that. So for this type of problem, there's our angle. Now, I want to identify my three sides. So this is my 33-degree angle. To determine what goes where depends on this 33-degree angle. Now, obviously, what are we always going to identify first? Hypotenuse, which is, that's half of it right there. You got to get the hypotenuse first. Go ahead. No, that's okay. What were you going to say?
No, the opposite is y, right?
Be careful. Look at 33 degrees. Now, does the y touch or is it across? Where's your y side? Look where it is. Yep. So, does it touch the 33-degree angle? No. Here's your y. Is it a part of the 33-degree angle? So if it's a part of the 33-degree angle, that means the y is it touches adjacent, yeah. The y is your adjacent. Therefore, what has to be the opposite then? X. Because it's all relative to the angle we're focusing, reference. And then once you get here, then you figure out what are we going to do. Now, so then what we do, you fill in your blanks. So hypotenuse 15, opposite x. Okay.
You're on Friday too fast.
No problem. Anytime. No problem. Is that what? And then adjacent, y, hypotenuse 15. But now, opposite and adjacent. Opposite was the x. Adjacent was a y. And then, of course, sine, cosine, tangent, we always use the degree measure. Now, out of the three, which one would not benefit us? Yeah, because the tangent has two variables. Would two variables help us with this problem? No. So the tangent is out of the game. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop for now at this point. But you will need to bring this back next class, because we're going to finish up the packet next class. Because I think we still have after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so I think what we're going to do. So next class, we're going to finish these. Hold on to them. Don't lose the packet. Don't lose your packet. You will need it next class. Now, during Stinger is going to be an opportunity to look at any homework that we missed, homework we need to complete from Unit 6, because your test, as we said again, is going to be next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is your test. So the goal is we're going to finish this packet next class is start the review. And then the following class, we're going to finish the review. And then use that opportunity to catch up. Get caught up with our homework because a lot of us, not some of us, a lot of us are behind with our homework. Falling way behind. And we only have 4 weeks left in this course. All right. See you all in a few. Gracias.
It's like all people do call, but you